side projects. Jill's found a lot of success with that hilarious old lady character, Mary Dolan.
It's very good.
I was saying that she should be on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, great.
She probably will be. You see Mary Dolan
She's
all
extremely
over the place.
talented,
Julie Antonellis is doing comedy. They have a side project. Karen and Jill have a side project called Bentwick Cabaret. Lisa Bergen was recently in a movie. They all have tons of stuff going on. So
That's good.
yeah, and they come together and do all the King's Men show. They have a really, really excited fan base all across the country, but especially in Boston. Their shows sell out snap. You know, so.
Is there a new generation behind them of talent?
Oh yeah, I think so. You know, there's a lot of drag, burlesque, cabaret type performance in Boston right now, across the country, but I particularly notice it in Boston probably because I live there. But they have no trouble at all, like, you know, programming shows, and I think we're going to see more and more of it.
Is that because of the colleges and then also Provincetown down on the Cape?
Well, I don't think Provincetown does anything to stand in the way of it.
I don't see how they work.
Maybe.
That changed, because Provincetown, that changed. That was different. You know, the old days when O'Neill was doing plays and stuff, it was a little different.
Yeah, well, they sell out shows in Provincetown and at the Art House, which is a beautifully refurbished theater. And some of the best footage was shot at the Art House. So if you're ever in Provincetown and you have a chance to see a show there, make sure you check it out. That's actually the first place that I ever saw them, was at the Art House. And it absolutely blew my mind. You know the song, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So as a kid, I can remember driving around in my parents' minivan, and I heard this song, and it was sang by a man, so I assumed that it was a man singing about a woman. And I just sort of carried that little seed in my life as I walked through it. And then I'm, 30 years old, 29 years old, sitting at an All the King's Men show, and I see them acting out this song, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, and it's two guys on stage with pink shirts on, or I guess they have black shirts on. Anyway, they're doing this thing where they're really attracted to each other. And it suddenly occurred to me, wait a minute, George Michael's gay. So he probably was never imagining a woman. And probably, that probably never occurred to him. And there's been this sort of homosexual thing I didn't pick up on in this song for my whole life because of the way popular culture is. And it just totally shattered my idea of pop culture. And I wondered how much other stuff I wasn't noticing or how much other stuff was suppressed. And I realized how much my upbringing and the things that I had been exposed to had, even though I thought I was a really liberated person, there was so much stuff that I was still confined by. Mm. And Caitlin Melia had already been working on the film for, I think, about 6 months at that point. She first saw them in Jamaica Plain at the Midway Cafe, and she knew that she wanted to do a film about gender, but she wasn't really sure what it was going to be. When she saw that troupe, she's like, I love it. And as she started to become closer with them, there was quite a bit of material with the troupe themselves, and she started exploring, okay, is this going to be a movie about drag as in what it is, or is this going to be really a personal story about a portrait of this particular troupe? And at the end of the day, she decided to make it a portrait of this particular troupe, and so it was really fabulous to watch it unfold over these years, and now to have been all around the country with it and see
I was going to
reactions.
ask you, Noah, where has this film been seen, and where else is it going when it leaves here?
Well, it has been seen. The first time we ever screened it was in Atlanta in April of last year. It's been to Cambodia, it's been to London, it's going back to England again. Tons of shows in Boston, a number of them sold out. We did one event that was black tie optional, there was a jazz band, and that was a big party. It was in Austin, Houston. It won the most eye-opening award at the Seattle True Independent Film Festival. It screened at MIT, Smith College. The list goes on. in terms of what's happening next, we're still looking for a distributor to pick it up so that it can be screened in every single gender studies department of every college across the world. That hasn't happened yet, and we are coming out with limited release DVDs over the next month or so. So we're going to make those available for home use and also for institutions to purchase for their libraries. And we're continuing to screen at film festivals, mostly at this point by invitation, which is really an honor. And I think we'll probably do some screenings in cities of interest. I'm interested in going to Portland, Maine. The troupe has some ties in Maine, and so do I. We're going to go to New York City, figuring out what exactly the plan is going to be there, and just sort of wherever we
Did you try River Road? Up in Winston-Salem?
No. We did think about it, though.
Yeah, because it's a tape, well, that was my film festival.
Oh, wow.
Until I sold it to him.
Okay.
It's a little late, I think, because
Yeah.
it's in April.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in Cleveland, Ohio, a year from now?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, we have contacts with the film festival in Cleveland.
Yeah,
We can certainly see if we can promote that.
Thank you. That'd be great. Yeah.
I felt like it was kind of implied that there were changes going on regularly on the troupe, but they never really discussed it. I mean, are the players the same now, or is it usually the same people, or does it kind of cycle through?
When the movie started, there were 8 members of the troupe, and during filming, 2 of them left. And the way that it went down, it sort of would have been confusing to try and explain all that. So what Caitlin decided to do was to just focus on who was there, and some of the stories were more elaborate than others anyway. But by looking at the 6 people who are currently in the troupe, it just sort of was the way that she handled that transition of going from 8 to 6. And but the troupe has been fairly solid through the years. There were other people who've left, but for the most part, it's been this entity. Yeah.
She kind of implied, because one of them said, I know we've had a lot of drama or something, and it piqued my curiosity if there was bitterness.
I mean, one of the things that they talk about is how they make themselves very vulnerable to each other. That's how they relate to each other, and that's the kind of performance that they do. So I think that over time it leads to, it's like my dad says, when you have a family business, the good times are the best and the bad times are the worst. So I think the troupe is a little bit like that. They're so close that when they're having a good time, it's great for them, but if they have a disagreement or stress, then, it's hard.
Julie alluded to, at times, taking on kind of the leadership role in the troupe, and then having to back away from that because she felt as if it wasn't accepted by the others. Is there a leader in the troupe? Is there a business manager? Is there somebody who makes all the arrangements for?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to. I don't know where exactly they're at with that right now. I know that during the course of shooting, they were looking for a booking manager. I'm not sure if they've found one yet, or I think they all lead in their own way, and it would be a lot of times when we do a screening, they're here with us. So I wish that a few of them were here now to answer that question, because they could answer it a lot better than I could. But I think they all lead in their own way.
I'm sorry, I'll shut up after this next one. I was intrigued by the woman who was leading that workshop, that conference.
Transgender
conference.
Kate Bornstein is a brilliant gender theorist, I think. Her work has changed my concept of gender. One of my favorite pieces that she's written is called Gender Outlaws. And she happened to be at this conference and Jill, it's one of Jill's heroes. And so Jill was sure to catch her presentation, and the photographer, Justin Francese,